Welcome to another inspired video. I'm Jen Kincaid, Garden Girl at 2 Peas in a Bucket. I'll be using this month's mood board along with this inspiration image I found on Pinterest to create this layout, pulling colors and textures from the mood board and image. So I pulled things from my stash as well as some new supplies like the digital cut files and some 2 Peas exclusive flair and other metals for my page, and then an assortment of letter stickers, strips of solid colored paper from My Mind's Eye, Bella Boulevard, Echo Park, Amy Tangerine, and I pulled mostly blues, I think because I was thinking of summer and the ocean, and those were the colors that I wanted to concentrate on. I'm also using my square punch. It's about 1 3/8 inch. I decided to use it just because my silhouette isn't near my scrap space, and I still use my punches for things of this nature. So I'm going to show you how I am just punching out anywhere from 3 to 5 squares of each paper that I have here. I went ahead and cut them into strips, and now I'm going to speed this up a little bit, just showing you all of the different colors that I'm choosing, laying them off there to the side so I can line them up later on my layout. And this is really just a pretty simple and quick page where I'm using color and texture as the basis of the design and the inspiration for it. So I have my 8.5 by 11 piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to start laying the squares out. Like I said, the punch is about 1 3/8 inch. So I knew ahead of time how many squares it would take to fill up the page, the 2 columns there, the length of the 8.5 by 11 cardstock. And I'm not going strictly ombre where I'm going from light to dark or dark to light. I'm just kind of mixing the colors up a little bit, and then you'll see a gradual fade from the blues into the greens, into the yellows. So here I kind of realize I need maybe a couple more squares from the My Mind's Eye cut and paste paper because it has a natural ombre look to it, and I'm switching some of the squares out. And I think that's pretty well how I want. And now I'm going to show you how I'm adding some texture to these squares. I have some sandpaper right there, just a small piece that I cut up, and I'm folding the square in half, and I'm using the sandpaper to expose the white core of this paper. And you can't really tell on that lighter piece, but the white core is exposed, and it's giving those squares a little bit more texture, a little bit more dimension. And basically all you do is fold that square twice and run the sandpaper over each edge, folded edge. Here you'll see with this little bit darker piece of the bluish green how the white core is exposed. So that's pretty neat. I thought it was a way to give the page more dimension as well as make it have more of a mosaic feel to it. Instead of having to cut up all of those tiny squares, it gives it almost the illusion that the tiny squares have been cut and laid there, but they're not. I folded and sandpapered them all. So I'm speeding it up here just so you can see how I did each page, and how another set of the darker blue-green squares, the white really showed up really well. And you can see as you look at all of them coming together how cool this design is starting to look. So now I'm going to adhere each of the squares, and I'm creating a bit of a grid design. I'm leaving enough white space between each square. I'm not overlapping them, and I want that grid space right there. And I'm turning up some of the corners of the squares to add just a little bit more texture to the overall page. And if you reference the inspiration image that I included with this video from Pinterest, some of the squares on that image also were turned up. And I really was drawn to this image and thought it would make a really fun page putting this together. And now I've got everything down, and I'm going to get my pictures. I decided, since this month was a daily life type kind of documentation theme, that I was going to focus on my morning coffee. That is my favorite part of the day, where I can just sit after the kids have gone to school, or even in the summer before they've even got out of bed, and that is my time. And I am kind of guilty that I am one of those people. I think about my morning coffee the night before when I'm getting ready to go to bed, almost anticipating how much I'm going to enjoy that time. So I thought it was a good thing to document for me, since it's just part of my decompressing, getting ready for the day time. So now I'm starting to pull some of the 2Peas product. I'm pulling some of the cut files by Lisa Dickinson. She has some days of the week square cut files, and I sized those accordingly because I knew what size my punch squares were, and sized those down to be able to fit over these squares, as you'll see. And this is also a tag that I decided to back my photo with, that Welna has in her cut files for this month. And I thought I was going to use that everyday cut file as well by Lisa Dickinson, but you'll see here later I decided against that with my overall design. So right now I'm just figuring out where I want everything to go, where I want to put each embellishment. And now I'm going to take, see how cute those little days of the week squares are. The corners are actually rounded. I didn't mind that. I thought about rounding my punch squares off, but decided against that because I liked how the little pieces of the paper still peeked out from the square. So see, I am removing that everyday cut file. And the reason I did that was because of the placement of each of the days of the week squares. The overall design that I was going with, how I wanted to group some of the days on the same side and then leave some of the squares, the paper squares, open. So now I'm going to adhere each of these days of the week cut files, just lightly tacking them with some adhesive and putting them down. I added a pop dot to that smile flare and decided instead to type every day on another one of the cut file tags by Welna this month. And I'm going to end up using that coffee cup cut file later too, but first I'm going to choose some of the letter stickers from my pile of letter stickers, and I am using the black and gray stickers by Studio Calico in their Essentials collection to spell out coffee as part of my title, Everyday Coffee. And then I also have some leftover letter stickers from Jilly Bean. I'm going to spell out love. I just think letter stickers can be a really quick way to put down a cute title in no time. And I was just lucky that I had this set of letter stickers to coordinate with the colors that I pulled here too on my page. And so now I'm adhering a heart as from the middle of that coffee mug that you still see in the upper right of the video. And I adhered that down, and now I'm going to take the watercolors and my water brush, and I'm going to watercolor that heart pink. So that was a white die cut there. You just couldn't see it really well. Now I'm going to do the same now. I am using the water brush and the watercolors to color my coffee mug. I'm using two different colors of yellow, and the colors are going on very, very light, so I don't have to worry about that the paper is overly saturated whenever I go to adhere it down to my page. And I chose yellow since it would coordinate with the lower part of the punch squares. I thought about doing a different color, but then decided against it, so I'm going to overlap it there on top of the picture off the left. And you can see the way I have my pictures lined up too. I intentionally line them up past the midline of the grid of squares. And now I'm taking my pencil and I'm just making little steam marks coming out of my coffee cup there. I just thought that was a cute little addition. And now I am taking some spray ink and splattering my page, and I'll let that soak in and dry, and then for finishing touches I will just sew on my page. And that is my page. I hope you were inspired to create in some way. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.